If I can't have her, no one can. That's just messed up. Welcome back to another episode of Gen X and Millennial Memes, where we look back at years gone by that we all thought was just yesterday. Please consider hitting that like button, and if you haven't already, smash subscribe, click the bell, and select all notifications so you don't miss future episodes. I think I got a lot of good ones for you this week, so let's get into today's episode. My favorite part of Star Wars was when Darth Vader lost his cool during a staff meeting and started choking a coworker. I think we've all been there before. This was sent in by AkornStash viewer, Kristen. This just in, the police have apprehended the illegal alien that has been eating the cats. This was sent in by AkornStash viewer, Christine, and I thought it fit perfectly into this week's episode. Kids today are soft. I unalived once when I was 5, and my mom made me walk it off. Yep, in a time when merry-go-rounds, monkey bars, and contraptions like this were the normal part of every playground. Remember, Klinger dressed like a woman to show that he was mentally ill. This was also sent in by Kristen. You can only bring back one royal great musician. Well, I would choose Elvis, but he's still alive. So, between Queen and Prince, I'd choose Prince. Do you know who's in this photo? This was submitted by AkornStash viewer, Chow Chow. Help control the pet population. Adopt a Haitian. This was sent in by AkornStash viewer, Mike. We've got some hot ones this week. Some of these you'll probably see again on Sunday's Laugh While the World Burns new episode. Only 80s cats will understand. Admit it, one of the highlights of your childhood was talking into the fan to hear your robot voice. Yep, things like this is what would happen when you were forced to stay inside during family gatherings or other events. What if the Indiana Jones movies are just the dreams of Han Solo while he's frozen in carbonite? That's actually a pretty good theory. I'm convinced this man is immortal. In my opinion, Sam Elliott is one of 4 iconic voices. The other 3 are James Earl Jones, Morgan Freeman, and John Wayne. I'm old enough to remember when paper bags were being blamed for the destruction of trees, and plastic bags were the solution. This is absolutely 100% true. And now they push paper bags in places like Aldi's because it's a renewable resource, except those bags tear before you ever make it to the car, which is why I stopped buying them. I always keep a bundle of Walmart plastic bags in my car and use those for Aldi's. Just another example of how they can completely flip the narrative to the younger generation, and they have no idea of what the propaganda was of yesteryear. 2024, cool grill, bro. 1960s, picked on and called Metal Mouth. This was submitted by AkornStash viewer, Robert. And I think that pretty much continued through the 70s, 80s, and even probably into the 90s. I sincerely appreciate every one of you who submits content to be considered here on the channel. If you would like to submit memes, links, news, or anything else, you can send it to akornzstash@gmail.com. This link can also be found down below in the video description. Here's an article I came across this past week from Atari. Get your pixel fix like it's 1986. The new Atari 7800 Plus joins the ranks of such timeless design icons as shoulder pads, crop tops, and aviator sunglasses. Inspired by the original 80s design, this scaled-down version fits today's living rooms and connects easily to modern TVs via HDMI. It supports both 2600 and 7800 game cartridges and comes with the new wireless CX78 Plus gamepad, an untethered recreation of the radical controller Atari released with the 7800 in Europe in the 80s. Use its 2-button gaming power to journey through Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest, the brand new cartridge sequel to Crystal Castles. And yes, this is a real thing. You can actually find this and more about it on Atari's official website. And no, unfortunately, this ad is not sponsored by Atari. It was just something I come across that I thought you guys would be interested in. 2 things to make your day better. Do not watch the news. Stay off the bathroom scales. It's true. Fox News correspondent Gillian Turner, cancel culture is spreading like wildfire. There is a call for Generation X to lead the charge to save America from the social media mob. Can they do it? Gen X? You mean the people who already lived all this in the early 90s? When it was called political correctness and saw through it then too? And that was nothing compared to what they're doing today. And like most people, they only remember Gen X when they need something. Forget about stick shifts, guys. They're trying to make automatics easier to drive. But instead, they come up with something like this. Car manufacturers, what if we made a transmission dial? Me, let me just adjust my volume. This is one of the stupidest designs I've ever seen. There's no way I would buy a car with that in it. Surely there's some way that it locks it out so you can't change it while you're in motion. Grandmas be acting like they're a substance dealer every time they give you some money. For the boys, look at this cool stick. I have to admit, that is a pretty cool looking stick. If I found that, I'd definitely cut it down and keep it. And I'd probably turn it into a walking staff. This man got cookies in the sewing kit. How many of you guys, when you were kids, actually saw these tins with cookies still in them? The only thing I ever remember them being was my grandmother's sewing kits. The first time that I actually remember seeing cookies in one was just a couple years ago at the store. If you yell and they don't reply, leave them. You don't need that negativity in your life. Being an adult is having an entire cupboard filled with cups that you never use but don't want to get rid of. I'll never be over the hill. I'm too tired to climb it. This is true. I'm this old. Warning. Seeing this image will result in immediate singing inside your head. All the actors from Friends are now older than the youngest Golden Girl was in that show's first season. Have a nice day. If there was one book in every household back in the day, it was this one. I actually don't remember my grandmother or my mom having this particular cookbook. Actually, I don't particularly remember them having any cookbooks. But my grandmother was a really great cook, and my mom learned everything from her when she was growing up, and she's also a great cook. Job interviewer. If there was a problem, how would you solve it? Me. Check out the hook and let the DJ revolve it? That is an acceptable response. And if you guys remember that, your memory's a lot better than mine. I'll be honest, I had to look it up. Which, most people have a better memory than me anyway. When I say I have plans later, this is what I mean. I'm usually against graffiti, but I'm sort of impressed. It's even better when you realize that someone took the time to stack up a bunch of bricks so they could finish the top of his hat. Admit it, you forgot about this guy. That is true. I never had one, but I remember seeing this or something similar. I had a man come to me and he said, "Bob, I can never paint because I'm colorblind. So I thought today we'd do a picture in gray, just to show you that anyone can paint." I actually remember seeing this episode. As if we haven't had enough to deal with in 2024. Now these are back. Them. How many push-ups can you do? Me. If they're the orange flavor, I know for a fact I can do 7 of them in one setting. My sarcasm means I either like you, and I'm comfortable teasing, or I genuinely dislike you. Have fun figuring out which one it is. This is actually true. Who remembers drawing birds like this? Found this in an antique shop. Look closely. The perfect staircase does not exist. That is a pretty good one. Remembering back when our parents used to send us to school with no water bottle, no phone, no snacks, but somehow we would survive till the end of the day. TikTok really has people putting McDonald's ice cream into their Cokes and acting surprised that it's delicious. And I don't know if it's a joke or if Gen Z really thinks they invented Coke floats. I honestly think that they believe they invented this. Coke floats were okay, but my favorite was root beer floats. My dad used to bake them with A&W root beer, which was always his favorite. In 1984, music from 1944 was really old. But no matter what anyone says, in 2024, music from 1984 will never be old. Johnny and Ponyboy still golden after 40 years. I'm so Gen X, I'm considering this tattoo. Well, I've seen a lot worse. But could you just imagine going into a tattoo parlor with this ceramic dish and telling them, "This is the tattoo I want"? I don't care how old I am. When these go on sale, I'm getting some. Actually, I eat very little cereal these days. And when I do, it's usually frosted cornflakes with a banana. I'm this old. Yeah, I do remember that vinyl floor pattern. If you know these two cowboys, you're a true 80s movie buff. If you know what movie they're from, drop it down in the comments. Be nice until it's time not to be nice. Me staring at my hoodies knowing I can't put them on yet. Baloney, I've already wore mine a couple times this fall. If you never made a mixtape with one of these, don't argue music with me. Most of the time, the cassettes I had were just white. I'd always save the clear ones for the really good songs, because for some reason, they always sounded better. I had to zoom in, because I swear I saw Alf in this picture. It's hard to believe I once had a phone attached to a wall, and when it rang, I'd pick it up without knowing who was calling. It's amazing that I'm still alive. Oh look, enough gum to last about 28 minutes. It's very true. My stepmom told me I'd be a janitor. Nothing wrong with that. And live in the basement of a school and play guitar for the rats. I wrote a song about her. It's called Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. It's been played on the radio 3 million times. I hate it when I see an old person and then realize we went to high school together. I don't have that problem. I went to high school in Southeast Kentucky, and I moved from there about 2 years after I graduated. Who remembers having to look up phone numbers in a book? Apparently, some people still receive phone books from their city. The last time that I remember actually getting a phone book in the mail was probably close to 20 years ago. You don't know true pain until you've been popped in the head with one of these. Who remembers slamming your on the ground when the other kid jumped off? Yeah, instead of it actually being just a seesaw, it kind of became a game where you both were trying to be ready for when the other person jumped off. All the while, you were trying to pick the perfect moment of when to jump off when the other person wasn't ready. Kids today will never know what it was like to have to wait a week only to find out your pictures were worthless. Yep, this is true. And not only were the pictures worthless, but you wasted the money on the camera and having the film developed. All you kids with your Fortnites and Black Ops, y'all wouldn't even make it past the Kansas River. I'd say that's pretty true from this version from back in the day. But, believe it or not, they've apparently come out with a new Oregon Trail for some of the new gaming systems. Dirty Dancing is a different movie when you watch it as a parent. Baby's daddy wasn't unreasonable. She was 17 and sneaking around with a Catskills dance instructor who has anger issues and looks like he's at least 40. Yes, you should be put in a corner. It's called timeout, you brat. Back in my day, there was so much toilet paper and eggs that we would throw them at the houses of our enemies. What my iTunes used to look like. I actually still have one of these leather-bound disc binders. I had a meme about the goose decor fad that would happen back in the day. I didn't remember them, but some of you guys did. This one here shows a bathroom, but apparently they also had some similar decor for the kitchen. You might be 80s, but you will never be as 80s as David Hasselhoff playing Atari while driving a Trans Am. Actually, we know this is wrong. Kit was actually one of the first artificially intelligent, self-driving vehicles. Before Netflix and Prime, we had this. Can you hear this picture? Yes, I can. Back when credit cards were pretty much checks that you just didn't have to fill out by hand. The only thing that brings us all together. That's okay, we're used to being left out. Besides, we make fun of all of you. Kids today want an iPhone. I wanted one of these. Never had a mongoose, but I had a BMX that was red and black with chrome rims that had the metal spokes. That mini heart attack. Not quite that bad, but you were literally on the edge of your seat. Me at 18. As long as I'm in bed by 3 a.m., I'm good. Me now. It's already 8 p.m. We can't start a movie this late. Yeah, well, while I'm recording this video, it's currently 3:40 a.m. But I don't get much sleep anyway. Did any of you notice what was wrong with this stick that I showed earlier? I removed the shadow from the bottom half of the stick. I also removed the little piece of the vine that was on the top half, but I left its shadow on the table. Just wanted to see if anybody was paying attention. But I decided to put this in here because I know there'll be people saying that the image was fake. And I'll end this episode with this. Deep Thoughts by Randall Savage. Incorrectly is the only word that, when spelled right, is still spelled incorrectly. That is correct. I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit that like button. And if you'd like to see future episodes, please subscribe to the channel. I try to have new Generation X and Millennial meme episodes every Friday, and the Laugh While the World Burns Idiocracy episodes every Sunday. If you'd like to see other topics covered here on the channel, you can drop your suggestions down in the comments or send them to akornzstash@gmail.com. Once again, that link is down below in the video description. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I thank you for watching. Take care. Stay safe. This is Akorn. Over and out.